There are 5 traits that you must have if you're going to succeed as an entrepreneur running your own engineering business. And stick around to the end because there's a 6th one, which is not exactly a trait, but it's also a must have. The first thing you've got to have is some communication skill. A lot of engineers are introverts, but we have to get past that to be able to do the networking and the business that we need to do. So you need to have enough communication skill to be able to get out and meet with people that you're selling to. One of the other things that you need to have is just enough of an interest in the business side of things that you're going to keep at it. A lot of engineers go into business because they've got a cool engineering idea that they want to bring to the market, but they don't necessarily like the business side. Well, if you're in business yourself, you do need to like it enough to be able to do it. It doesn't need to be your favorite thing, but you are going to have to do things like marketing, sales. You'll have to do finances to balance the books and keep things going. And you have to be able to do enough operations to keep things moving as well. Sometimes that might be dealing with employees or subcontractors or whatever it takes to get the job done. Those are skills that are a little bit outside of just a normal engineer, and they are something that you're going to have to do if you're running your own business because you're the where the buck stops. So all of those tasks fall to you and only you until you get big enough where you can subcontract those to somebody else or hire someone for those roles. A third thing that you're going to need in order to succeed as an entrepreneur is to have a good work ethic. It's going to take a lot of work. It maybe takes long hours to keep things going. It may not as you get things in motion, but you at least have to be prepared for the fact that if it requires long hours, it's your long hours that it's going to require. You can't just take off for the weekend or for an evening. If something is due tomorrow that's going to either push a project forward with a customer or not. Maybe you've got a proposal that you need to write that there's a time crunch on. It falls to you. The buck stops with you for your business. So while there are many videos on how you can have a 20-hour work week or a 4-hour work week or whatever it is, you might be able to get to that at some point once you hit your stride with a particular business. But in reality, I think you should expect to put in, at the very minimum, a 40-hour week like you would with an employer. And realistically, you're going to be doing more than that because you're probably going to do 40 hours of engineering and then you've got all the business stuff on top of that. Another aspect of being in business for yourself is extremely important, and that is tolerance of uncertainty, especially on the financial side, because there are going to be ups and downs in a business. When you have work and you don't have work, you'll be scrambling trying to find the next job and worried where that's going to come from. You don't necessarily get a regular paycheck. You are your boss, you are writing your own paycheck, and if you don't have money to write yourself a paycheck, you don't get a paycheck. How much money you make is not based directly on how much time you put into your business. It's based on how effective that time is at winning projects and actually getting work that can be billed. So you have to have a high tolerance for that uncertainty until you can get big enough where you can smooth out those bumps. And honestly, even when you get bigger, there are bumps. There are times when you have too much work and times when you don't have enough work. And I've been doing this for 25 years, and I've found that to be true no matter how far along I get in the business. There are always peaks and valleys in that business cycle. Being tolerant of that level of uncertainty is extremely necessary if you want to be able to sleep at night, to just know that everything will be okay as long as you follow along your path and keep working toward the next goal. The next thing that you need to be really good at is just having the determination and the drive to keep at it, especially going through those valley times where you're looking for work, where things are just not coming together. Maybe you're super busy on a project, but you've run out of money on the project, you still want to deliver it. There are all kinds of things that will be impediments to your success, and you need to have enough drive and a belief in what it is that you're doing that you can push through those difficult times. You need to have your eye on the mission that you have for your business and keep your eye on that goal to be able to give yourself the motivation you need to make it through those times. About a year after I started a business with one of my partners a few years ago, it was 2008, and we'd started the business at the beginning of 2008. And if you remember what happened in 2008 in the fall, everything went down fast. We had contracts on the books that were canceled immediately by the clients. We thought we had everything lined up through well into 2009, and it all went away. And we just sat there twiddling our thumbs for months, for all of the rest of 2008 and much into 2009. We made it through that time, and we got to actually one of the biggest contracts we ever got at the end of 2009, but we had an extremely lean year that we needed to make it through. So it was very important for us to keep our eye on where we were going and why we were going there. We made it through, and we had great success after that, but we had to get through that big valley. So those are the 5 things that you absolutely have to have. And I'm going to add in a 6th one. This is the bonus thing that you absolutely have to have, and that is you need to have a healthy bank account, because you need to make it past those things that I was just talking about. And motivation isn't enough to pay your bills. You need to have some money set aside that you're able to keep going. That time that I was talking about in 2008, 2009, for that year period, I made less money that year than I did my first year out of college, which was many, many years before that. It was an extremely lean time. I had to buy 2 cars that year too. We had car troubles and we needed new cars. It was a difficult time to make it through. And I survived that because I had my own savings to fall back on to be able to get over that hump. Because if you don't have savings, you don't have a continuity of business. And if I didn't have my savings to draw on during 2008, I wouldn't have been around in business in 2009 to be able to get the biggest contract that we'd ever gotten at that point. So having a war chest doesn't have to be big, but it does have to be enough to keep the lights on and to keep food on your table while you wait patiently for the success of your business. So those things are absolutely key. If you can do those, you will have overcome 90% of what causes businesses to fail.